Hey everyone, you're watching the From WordPress to Statamic YouTube channel. My name is Michael. The last couple of videos we've been talking about forms, how to create a form with Statamic, enhancing it with JavaScript and Ajax. And now we can talk about what we want to do once we've submitted a form. Perhaps you want to send yourself an email to let you know that, hey, someone's filled out your contact form. Wouldn't that be handy? Well, we don't want to just rely on whatever server our app is living on to send us an email. We want to tie it in with some sort of delivery service. Thankfully, since Statamic sits on top of Laravel, it makes it easy to use Laravel systems to do this. It's got a bunch of built-in drivers, so there's not a whole lot that we need to do except for configure our env file, which I have open here on the right side, as you can see. Now, the way that we can check if this works at all is we go over to our dashboard over here, and in utilities, there's an email option, and you can see this is reflecting the values that are in my env file over here. And if I can test this, I'll just hit the test button. And as you can see at the bottom, some test email was sent. We know that it worked, but I don't really know where it's ending up because the mail host here is a local server. So if I'm running software like Mailtrap, that's where I'll be able to find it, and I'll probably have that configured here as the host. But if I'm sending email in the real world, I want some reliable service like SendGrid or Postmark to be able to send this for me, and I know that it's going to be delivered into the inbox reliably. So let's just take a quick look at the docs over here. And this page talks about how to get it configured. And scrolling down, as we were just talking about, this config file mentions that it's pre-wired to use the environment variables, which is what we have here. So for this example, I want to use Postmark, and I've already got a sandbox open over here. And I'm just going to go back to servers, and it's easy enough to create a server, and all that is just a bucket for emails that are being sent. So I've got this live server, but I also have a sandbox. And as you can see, I've already done some transactional stuff with the sandbox. If I were to click into there, the transactional stream, this is just how it groups the emails, but transactional stuff is kind of what we're talking about right now. The first thing that I want to do is I want to go over to this API tokens tab, and I want to create a token if I haven't done so already. And I'm going to copy that value, and I'll paste it in here. I'll just write token. For the username and the password, you'll use that same API token. And then I'm going to change this value to be smtp .postmarkapp.com. And the mailer is going to be an SMTP server. And the mail port is going to be 587. And the encryption will be TLS. Now, if I go back to my dashboard over here, you'll see these new values reflected. And then you can send another test email. But you want to make sure you're using a real API token, and you'll use your own email address here that you've set up in Postmark. And you want to use a real email address from the domain that you've connected in Postmark. And speaking of connecting domains in Postmark, that's the other thing you need to do. You'll go over to Sender Signatures, and then you'll create a new signature that'll give you values to paste into your DNS settings. Take, for example, example.com. I'll need to go into my DNS records for example.com and set up a new CNAME and a new TXT record using the values that's provided from here. That's how Postmark knows to use your mail server connected to your domain name. And then it all should just work really nicely. I'm going to go back over to the front end after I've connected this all and show that, hey, now it's working, and I'll show you the email in the back here. Okay, now that I've got that stuff figured out, I need to do one more thing in Statamic to make this all tie together. I'm going to go over to forms here. I'm going to select my contact form. So I've got my contact form here, and I'm going to go and edit the form. And scrolling down, here's this email section. Configure emails to be sent when new form submissions are received. So let's do that. Send it to hello@example.com. And we'll say you've got a new submission from your contact form. For now, that's all I need to do. I don't need to send carbon copies or blind carbon copies or anything else, or change any of these other things. If you want to, you can do that another time. And I'll just make sure to save that. Come back here, just refresh the page just in case. And I'll say, hello, test. Sending through Postmark. Submit. Okay, now everything should be working. If everything's wired together properly. Now, this is a new test account where the setup isn't really complete. You can see this request approval stuff and in test mode. So here's this one that I just sent to hello@example.com, which was the email address we configured. I'll just click into there. It says, while your account is pending approval, all recipient addresses must share the same domain as your from address. So in this case, it's cascadia.digital. So why don't we use an email address from there? Let's go back over to configure the form, and we'll make the recipients testing at cascadia.digital. Save that, and let's just let's go back here to activity, and I'll try this again. Hello, test. Trying again through Postmark. And it worked. And I'll go back over to Postmark here, give it a refresh. There it is, testing at cascadia.digital. Again, another fake email address, but there you go. And there's the values from my form. So we can see if you follow these steps, paying attention to all the details, making sure that you've added your sender signature and you have a sandbox or some sort of server created in Postmark, if that's the service you're going to use. That's all you really need to do outside of configuring your form in Statamic to send an email once you've received that contact form submission. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you next time.